The term cycling in the aquatic industry, what does the cycling actually mean when it comes to fish? Well, we're going to actually go back to the classroom. Behind this bit of paper here, we've got 5 steps here that we're going to show you exactly what the term cycling means. And when somebody approaches you in your local fish shop and asks you if you've ever been or has your tank been cycled, you're going to be one step ahead and you're going to say, yes, my tank is cycled, ready to go. So stay tuned, back to the classroom and away we go. Hello everyone, welcome back to Blue Fin Aquatics, where we share our knowledge and experience with you. Okay, as in our opener, we were talking about cycling and what it actually means. And like we're going through there, we're going to show you exactly what it means. And so you're one step ahead when you do go to your local fish shop and they ask if your tank's been cycled, you can say, yes, it has. So therefore, I'm going to show you 5 easy steps to go through. And let's see how we go. So here we go, starting from the first one. So we'll just bring this down. It's like going back to school again. Okay, cycling your tank. So really, to break that down, what does it actually mean to cycle your tank? Basically, in that term, cycling your tank, it means basically, is your tank ready to take on some new fish? Where all your levels, when we talk about levels, we're talking about the ammonia, nitrite, nitrates and pH and so forth. They're all balanced out so they won't harm your fish in any way. So this is what we mean by cycling your tank. So what we're looking at here is we're going to go through the nitrogen cycle because really that's the basis of how it all starts. So what we're going to do, we're going to use an example for a 6-foot tank, which we have here, that we go through and show you the methods of how we cycle our tanks. Now from this, there are easy ways to do it, but we're taking you right back to the grassroots so you get a better understanding of how to actually do it straight from the base upwards. So okay, so the nitrogen cycle that we're doing, it's about trying to get your tank prepared for when you do want those fish. And how we go about that is that to get that right and ready to go and get your tank on its way, be patient because this process is roughly about 5 to 6 weeks depending on your stocking levels. Now to start it off with, what we need to do obviously is to have your tank full of water, have some chlorinator in there, and what we need to do, we need to put some fish in there. So what we like to call it, it's low-cost fish that won't break the bank. You put them in there, you put, say, basically a dozen or so in there. And what that actually does, the fish themselves, as you feed them, they defecate into the tank and the feces are picked up. And this will start setting off like we call an ammonia cycle as well within the nitrogen cycle. So the more you feed, the more the cycle will start to go ahead and work for you. Because what we're trying to do here, we're trying to build up the bacteria. And we're talking about the good bacteria that breaks down the feces and all the bad elements, such as your ammonia, your nitrites, into nitrates. So that's what we're looking at here. And this is the process that we're going through and how I'm explaining it to you for any tank that you want to set off. As we mentioned, there are easy ways to do it, but I want to really take you down to the grassroots so you get an understanding from basic rather than sort of like getting ahead of the system itself. So where we are now, we've started off that nitrogen cycle where we've added our fish in, we're feeding them and we're feeding them every day, and therefore they are defecating into the tank and the feces break down and this starts the cycle going. So we keep that going for at least 5 to 6 weeks. But from that onwards, what's going to happen is that your ammonia levels are going to start rising because your fish are in there and they're defecating into the tank, plus your nitrates and your nitrites, which is the nitrates is the lesser form, the nitrate is the toxic part, that's going to start going as well. So we're trying to build up this good bacteria. And the last bit here that we're looking at is the potential hydrogen concentrate in that water. Now what we need to do within this cycle, okay, as your fish are going along in the tank, they keep you feeding them and they keep defecating and so forth, and it keeps turning it around. Now what's going to happen in that, you're going to need to get hold of a test kit, something similar to this scale here that we've got here. We've showed you once before where we've broken it down to seeing what your nitrates and nitrites and also your pH and ammonia is. This chart is very much the same thing. So these colorings here are basically the levels and the colors that you'll be looking at to know when your tank is right. So this color chart here will give you the right indication. So what we're actually looking at the moment is we're looking basically at the yellow, which is the pH. The brownish one is the pH, but as in a high level, if you wish to go that far. Then you've got your ammonia, and we're talking about the nitrates and also the nitrites there as well. So they're all ppm, parts per million is what we're looking at. Okay, so now you understand with the chart what we're going to be talking about, so you get a bit of an idea. Okay, so where we are sitting at the moment now, as we're going along in that period there, these balances, all these things are happening in your tank. So to get a bit of an idea how it's going, you get one of these test kits, and we're not affiliated with API, but API have got the test kits out there, which I've just shown you the actual scale. Go through that and have a look. So what you need to do is you get some vials that come with the kit. You take some water out of the tank, which is usually around about 5 ml, and you use whether you're using the ammonia set, which is 2 parts of that, or you're using the nitrates or the nitrites, they'll bring in as well, because they're drops as well. So you basically use those vials to help you to ascertain exactly how your tank's performing. Now you'll keep doing that, and generally, like we like to say, is do it for the first week, see how the water levels sit. Second week, you'll find that the ammonia and the nitrites and the nitrates, they're going to be crawling right up there, so you've got to watch out for that. And at this stage, I wouldn't worry too much about the pH, as we're trying to sort of condition the tank in its cycling method. So basically what we're doing here now, once we get through the weeks, say we're up now to week 5, you're going to start to see a bit of a plateau out on what you're seeing on your vials when you're doing the scale. So what should be happening, and I'll just use the scale as an example here, what you're going to be seeing when you first start off, what you're going to see here is that all your levels are going to be all over the place. They're going to be down here, over here, and so forth. As the tank starts to cycle in, what you're going to see, this will probably be about the 5th week or the 6th week, all right, what you're going to see is your parts per million of ammonia will be balanced out maybe to 0.25 parts per million, and also you're going to see your nitrites probably sitting at 0 parts per million, and also at the top here, you're looking at the nitrates at 0 parts per million. So these are very, very important to get them at that level. If they aren't at that level at this stage of, say, 6 weeks, just give it a little bit longer. Be patient, because it will get there. But be sure to know, though, if your ammonia is high and your nitrites are high, don't put any fish in there until you bring it down to the lesser form of the nitrate, which is the less form and less harmful. All right, so once you do that and you get your levels to where I've just mentioned to you, then what you basically do from there onwards is that you can do like a 25% water change if you like, and then you can start accustoming your fish that you're going to get into that tank. But remember what we've talked about before, to acclimate or to acclimatize your fish to the new water. And remember not to put the water from the fish shop into your tank. So that's very, very important. So this is where we break it all down now. So understanding the cycle, these are the steps to take. And as I said, and I do say, be patient, because it does happen. It's a form of chemistry, if you like. So give it time to cycle through. And again, it also depends on the size of tank. All right, so the size of tank, 6 foot, it's going to take that long. If you're only going to deal with like a 3 foot or even a 2 foot, it may take a lot less time. And the other way to look at it too, this is starting from basic, but if you were and you're a bit more experienced, what you can do is you can get an existing filter, if you like, may it be a sponge filter or a canister filter, and you can pretty much introduce that straight into the tank. And over time, the good bacteria in the filters will actually act for you, and it will clarify your water up, and you'll find that your levels will be pretty much to normal where you can introduce new fish. But if they're not, just give it that little bit of time, because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to raise the good bacteria, and it's the good bacteria that breaks down the ammonia, it breaks down the nitrite and brings it into nitrate, which is the lesser form of harm. So, and this is why, every week we do a 25% water change, just to keep those levels balanced out And also when you do your water changes, do test your water, because they really do help, and it'll give you a bit of an idea if you're sitting in the ballpark with regards to your levels and also regards to the colouring on that chart. So you've just got to remember though, ammonia, yes, you're always going to detect ammonia in your water, which should basically be 0.25 parts per million. With your nitrates and your nitrites, there should be 0 parts per million in your tank. If you've still got those in your tank, then you need to wait just that little bit longer. All right, so again, bring it back to basics. This is how we cycle our tanks, and we do that here at Bluefin. So be patient. You can follow these steps. You'll be fine in getting your tank established ready for your new fish. Okay, now out of all that, if anything you want to ask, any questions, please comment in the comment section. We do hope that you get a lot out of this, because it is the top pinnacle of when you want to do fish. This is the cycling system that you've actually got to adopt. There's no such thing as grabbing a fish and throwing it into a tank, because 9 out of 10 they're going to die from shock as well, because the water conditions aren't really right for them. So without further ado, that's how we do it. Any questions? Please put them in the comment section, and if you like to subscribe to the channel, please do, or hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for joining us. Okay, here's a bit of a blooper. As we were editing the video, we've noticed too that the actual colour chart itself, the API Freshwater Must Test Kit, couldn't really see. So from a bloopers point of view, this is the chart we're using, and as you can see with the different colorings and so forth, so you get a bit of an idea. But if you read the directions, it'll label it out and set out for you what you need to do. But as for a blooper, this is it. And we'll try not make that same mistake again. Thanks for watching.